Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Purposeful Wisdom Podcast. My name is Dawn Christine. Thank you guys so much for being here. For those of you starting out with us, just joining us, welcome in. For those of you guys returning, welcome back. Thank you guys so much. It means the world to me that you guys take time to view these videos, to get inspired. I have awesome guests that come on every week. And oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited for today's guest. I have with me Miss Genevieve Piturro. Genevieve is an inspirational speaker and purpose consultant dedicated to igniting the flames of purpose within individuals, groups, and companies to empower their journey towards launching a lasting legacy. Her remarkable story unfolds as follows. She was a successful television marketing executive, and her life took an unexpected turn when she heard a compelling inner voice that challenged her chosen direction. In response, she made a courageous decision to dramatically alter the course of her life. However, it was a simple yet profound question posed by a 6-year-old girl in an emergency shelter that served as the catalyst for Genevieve's true purpose. In 2001, she took a bold leap off the corporate ladder and founded the highly successful national nonprofit organization, Pajama Program. As of this year, the program proudly celebrates its 22nd anniversary, having distributed more than 7.5 million pairs of pajamas and books to date. Genevieve's inspiring journey has caught the attention of both local and national media, earning her interviews on prestigious platforms such as OPRAH, Hallmark's Home and Family, The Huckabee Show, Today, GMA, The Early Show, CNN, Fox and Friends, O Magazine, Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, and Parenting Magazine. Genevieve's story is a testament to the power of purpose, compassion, and the profound impact one person can make when they align their life with their true calling. Welcome, Genevieve. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Oh, I love this. And you know, I love when I hear stories like this, when I have beautiful souls come on this podcast and just know their true meaning, know their purpose. And it's like a light bulb went off almost like, wait a minute, I don't feel aligned with my purpose anymore. And this beautiful soul, this little 6-year-old soul that inspired you to create a movement. I mean, you created a movement, Genevieve, like hands down. So I'd love for you to just elaborate on a little bit more of how that happened.
Sure. But I have to correct you. It takes a lot of people to create a movement. So it was my story, which sort of I felt like I was channeling that little girl, which I didn't have an intention to do. She just compelled me to take action. My heart was just like more than nudging me to help and to do something about this. She didn't ask. She just asked me a question that changed everything in my heart and my soul. And other people who heard the story felt the same. So the legacy part is fabulous. And I talk about how we all can be part of that, because what are we doing here anyway? Even if you're 20, you have to be thinking about your impact. Right. And every day of our lives. So I just wanted to say it's not the power of one that changes things. It's the power of one another that moves mountains and moves people. And so that's what we're trying to do.
And you're very successful doing it. I mean, 7.5 million pairs of pajamas. That's huge. That is huge. Now, do you deliver
and books?
And books. And I love that, because I read your backstory of how deep down, all you wanted to do was make children feel safe. That a pair of pajamas and a good book to make them feel safe and that's basically what a child needs, especially in these third world countries and countries of poverty. They don't have even running water, electricity. So to bring this gift of feeling safe and warm and clothed, it's just truly inspiring. It really, really is.
Yeah, I mean, our work is in the U.S., but we have shared when we can across the oceans. But it's the comfort. It's the most vulnerable time for these children who are at risk, who are marginalized, who may not have a consistent person by their side day, night, morning, and it's the importance of bedtime. What does it mean? It means you close your eyes and you trust. You trust
Right.
that you're going to fall asleep and be safe and not have a nightmare. You trust that the person who put you to bed, if there is an individual, that's why we exist, because there's not always someone, that person will be there in the next morning and always to comfort us and to make us feel safe, like you said. So the pajamas, I learned, are really just material that represent the love the child feels, because the child feels that somebody sees them and bought them for them and is giving them the pajamas. So I've learned a lot of lessons from just the gut instinct to bring pajamas and books to these children.
And I love it. I really do. And I'd love for you to dive into the heart voice connection. What is that?
I didn't know that there was one. I always wanted to climb the corporate ladder, and that was the job, that was the career that I wanted, because no one talked about purpose when I was in school, at any age, not through college, not through job searching. It wasn't really something anybody said, oh, you should think about your purpose. We all have a purpose. No, it was get a good job.
Right.
Look at so-and-so over there. Look at so-and-so over there. Get a really good job, make a lot of money, get security, which we all know is not really, it's not everywhere.
Right. Of
And
course.
so I was following that route. I always wanted to be in TV. I always wanted to be, a workaholic, meaning I wanted an exciting, always moving life.
Right.
And so I was on that track. And for 12 years, I was working in Manhattan, VP marketing for TV producers and Broadway show producers. And in a moment in my apartment, I heard a voice, and I knew immediately that it wasn't a head voice. That I knew very well.
Right.
But it came from somewhere else. And, in understanding it, it's from my heart. And we all have a heart voice that, unfortunately, we just ignore. But it asked me in a whisper, but I could hear it, if this is the next 30 years of your life, is this enough? And Dawn, that's what first stopped me cold, because I first I was spooked because I heard this voice.
Right.
And it only took a few seconds for me to realize I did miss a traditional family that my parents from Italy, my dad came off the boat, kept saying, why don't you want this? We don't understand. Why do you want to go live on your own in a big city and, work and sort of forget about getting married and having kids?
Right.
And in that moment, I realized I wanted to bring children into my life in some way. And I went to read in shelters, and I'd seen a terrible news report about police and social workers who took children out of homes because of the harm that was coming to them from people who were supposed to love them.
Right.
And I called and asked them, where are these kids? And they gave me, the emergency shelters. So I called and asked if I could come in and read stories at night, and they welcomed me, because this was a 24 hours the kids are there, basically, in these
Right.
places. All their information's given, and then the judges will decide what happens. So they try to find a place for the kids in the meantime. So when I got there, I didn't know what to expect. And then when I saw the children that they brought in for me to read to after dinner, I could see in a moment, any of us could see, their clothes were soiled or tight or both. And, their grooming was absent. They were afraid, they were staring into space, some were crying. And I just read to them, and they just stared at me, nobody said anything. And it was just, I was so connected to them. And it was so, as you can imagine, different than my crazy world. And these little children, I wanted to take them all and put them in my coat and take them with me. And week after week, different kids, I just read stories. And for the most part, they were pretty quiet, and I couldn't tell, but I could sort of see what they'd been through. One night I followed them to another room where they were going to sleep, and it was equally bare, and they were getting onto cots and futons, huddling in the same clothes, and they were tight and soiled. And I'm looking at this, and I'm having these memories of my mom at our bedside, and the fun and the love and the cookies and milk and the stories and the laughing, and of course pajamas. And that's what stood out to me. How can they get comfortable? They couldn't, they were squirming. I said, they have no pajamas. So that's what I asked when they were walking me back to the door. Can I bring pajamas next time? And they said, that'd be so nice. No one thinks of that. So I brought pajamas. I'm so excited. And I read to the children, and then I started handing them out. And there was a little girl on the line I made. She had lopsided pigtails and a soiled, dirty purple shirt and pink pants that were come up to her shins, and huge white sneakers. Somebody must have given her just to have something on her feet.
Right.
And when I tried to give her pajamas, she just said, no, no, no. And she kept backing away. She was so afraid of me, and I didn't know why. And I kept trying, same thing, no, no, no. And she'd back up. But she didn't want to go into the other room yet. She wanted to watch me. And then I gave them to the other kids, and I could see her on the side with this caregiver watching me. So when the other kids had their pajamas, they all took them and went into that room. I went back over to her with the pajamas, pink ones I put on my shoulder. And I knelt down and I tried gently again. And I tried to tell her, they're so soft. Do you want to feel them? They're pink, and you have pink in your purple shirt, and you could keep them always. You could wear them tomorrow. You could keep them on, and you're going to be so comfortable. Don't you want your pajamas? And she leaned in, and took her a few seconds to get the courage to just say anything. And what she said was, what are pajamas? And that just,
Oh my God.
destroyed me in the moment. I looked at the caregiver because I didn't think I understood her question. And she
Right.
mouthed to me, she doesn't know what pajamas are. And all I wanted to do to him was, was stay there, take her home, give her a hug, which I wasn't allowed to, and
Right.
just find all these kids and understand, because I couldn't, and find a way to just get them all pajamas and books. So my passion for my workaholic life, which I loved, 2 months before, was waning, and all I could think about was these kids. And and I wrote about it finally, because after 20 years of growing Pajama Program, which I never thought, I thought it would be me, just like Santa Claus with a sack of pajamas, I couldn't believe the support. And 20 years of being executive director, as well as I'll always be founder, I wanted to write a book and speak on finding purpose. So I passed the baton of executive director to a president of our board, and she's been doing great. And we're growing it to include bedtime rituals for the kids who can understand how important that is. And
Right.
so it's growing, and I get to do my purpose part 2 and inspire, hopefully, and share what I've learned on finding purpose and how it just changes everything.
What an incredible story. My heart, honestly, I love you're here, but my heart is like sinking right now, because I'm a mom. I have kids. I have 2 children. I have one pre-tween that thinks she's like 30, and then I have an actual teenager. And I can't even imagine like what that would feel like for a child to not even know what a pair of comfy pajamas. I know us as adults, like when we come home from the office, all we want to do is get into comfy clothes and just get out of those costumes that we have to wear every day of our lives, the corporate world or whatever we're doing. And all we want to do is just get into a really nice, comfortable pair of, I call them comfy clothes, right? But for these children to not even know what that's like, and to not even know what to feel safe in something, and my heart is just sinking right now. And it's just I'm so inspired by what you're doing and what you continue to do. And I'd love for you to obviously mention, I see your book in the background. Can you tell my audience about your book?
Sure. And my second book just came out too. So this one is Purpose, Passion, and Pajamas: How to Transform Your Life, Embrace the Human Connection, and Lead with Meaning. And it's my story complete with heart of the matter lessons in every chapter of what I did wrong, what I did right, both in leadership and in life. And I've learned a lot of lessons. And the biggest one is what I said before. It's not about the power of one. It's the power of one another that, moves mountains and moves people.
Right.
So it's ups and downs, all through my whole journey. People have asked, how'd you do it? And they hear the story. They want to know if they could, if I could support and help them, because a lot of people like I was, came to a point in life where they said, I don't know if I want to continue this road, whether they had that inner question of the next 30 years or just their own revelation. But it's scary. It's scary to jump.
It is.
What it's scary to tell people in your life it's scary to call someone when you're 40 years old and say, I don't know how to do this, and they're looking at you like, well, how'd you come this far? But they don't look at you like that. You just think they do.
Right. Of
And I
course.
talk
Because
about,
we all do. We all have those inner like critics in our brains of like,
yes,
I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to fake it till I make it kind of thing.
yes, yes. And you can't fake it all the time. You have to
No.
get real, you have to understand, and you have to swallow your pride, and you have to ask. And I didn't know what a 501c3 was. I had no idea how to, what I didn't even know what I had was a nonprofit. And the reason I
Right.
did go forward and make it legal and do the whole thing was because an article came out in Parenting Magazine, you mentioned it, and thousands, tens of thousands of people sent pajamas and books and cash and checks to my apartment, which was listed
Oh
back
my
20 years ago.
gosh.
And one letter said boxes. And one letter said, please send us your 501c3 so we can consider giving you a grant. And it was from a company. And I looked at my new husband, who was like overwhelmed by my change of heart, but supportive. And I said, what is
Good.
this 501c3? I don't know what this means. And I looked at him and I said, this is not something I'm doing on the side. People trust me. This is real now. And
Right.
I better go find out what this thing is and make sure I do everything right, because I'm not alone anymore. So the book
That's,
is
oh,
all about that. And the second book is Purpose, Passion, and Moxie: How to Lead
ooh,
Today and Leave a Legacy. Because I started Pajama Program with nothing but determination. And I love that word, moxie. And a lot of
yes.
people want to start nonprofits. It's about helping you, supporting you starting a nonprofit if you know nothing. If you know
Right.
nothing, I did. And knowing what you do have that falls under moxie and connections and heart and purpose and a voice, how to use all of that to start whatever you want.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love. Is your second book out yet, or is
Yeah,
it
last
coming out?
week.
It
Last
is
week.
last week. Okay, awesome. Yeah. So guys, you can get both the Genevieve's books. Get them, get them, get them. I would love to know, especially in my generation and older. I mean, next Saturday I'll be 42. So, and I'm
Happy
on this
birthday.
new, thank you. And I'm on this new path. I had, a rough childhood. I wanted a way to build a community through podcasting. I'm actually currently writing myself. I'm in the middle of 2 books myself, so I'm trying to inspire, not only adults, but young girls. Actually, I'm in the process of almost done with a book for young girls. And like, I'm going to be 42 and I'm like, wow, this is like a new journey, a new purpose. How do you even know if you're on the right track with that? How do you know that your purpose is connecting with what you're trying to do? Did something stand out to you that helped you align those two together?
Well, first of all, you definitely have passion and enthusiasm, and that's the first thing to tell you you're on track. The
Thank
second
you.
is other people's reactions. And I don't mean the naysayers. I mean the people who understand and get you. Not
Right.
everybody's going to get us. Not everybody's going to want to help children. Not everybody's going to think pajamas are, wow, so what are you doing for them? I've had those responses, but you have to find the right people. And then once you see that camp growing, your cheerleaders are growing, you're on the right track. If what you're saying resonates with people, enough people, then stick with that group. And the more of you, the bigger impact and the movement can grow.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, honestly, because, I knew I had so much to say and I wanted to bring experts on to share their stories. And it's all about healing and inspiration for me and growing together and building community and like-minded people. And because there's so many people out there that I've come across in my journey thus far, they couldn't afford mental health services. They couldn't, and I'm like, but YouTube's free. And if I can bring all these experts on and share their stories of inspiration and empowerment and self-love and all these different beautiful topics of giving back, helping kids, I mean, that's what I'm going to do, because like I felt like I really aligned with my purpose. I'm like, I have a voice. I definitely know that. I know my audience wants to learn these things. And that's why I'm so humbled that I have such amazing people, just as yourself, to come on here and share their stories of inspiration and how they got started and what this can actually grow to. I mean, 7.5 million pairs of pajamas, Genevieve, that's not a walk in the park. Like, how big is your team that helps you do all of this?
Well, Jamie runs our team now, so there are about I would say between 5 and 10 at any given time. We have
Wow.
national chapters in 40 some states, and they're all volunteers.
Mm,
Obviously, with nonprofits, you count on your volunteers to carry the
right.
load, and then then your main group sort of sets the vision and the momentum and the direction. So we grew strong and lean and heavy on volunteers, and I know Jamie's continuing in that way, and just I'm so proud to say I never thought I'd be here talking to you about expanding and about teaching children about bedtime, because over the last few years we've all seen how important sleep is, and that none of us get
Yes,
enough, right? And
absolutely.
add to that the trauma these kids have been through. How are we ever going to see the next generation, including these children, be strong? Because these children need support, extra support and love, and they need to know, and so do the caregivers need to know
Yes,
what bedtime means for their kids and themselves, and just change things.
absolutely. You're so right about that, because, that's the time to rest. But, I've, believe me, I've heard my share of stories with children and domestic violence and everything under the sun. And safety is the number one thing children want to feel, but especially when they're going to bed, because at that point you're in a different world. And if you're in an unstable environment, if you're in a a household where they're seeing their caregivers fighting physically, emotionally, all the, like, how could a child feel safe? So at the end of the day, they're not, how could these kids sleep? They can't,
Right.
because they're so fearful of getting hurt, of getting abandoned, God only knows what else, that just a simple act of starting to form structure in their lives, of routine, of, okay, this is what we do. We put on our pajamas, we read our story, we tuck you in, like something as small as that. If that's done in a routinely way, it'll start to build trust with the child
Right.
and
Right.
create a safe space. I mean, even if these kids are for a time being in these shelters until they're placed, even forming the structure there of putting their pajamas on at night and reading their story, it starts, like, because when you come from trauma, you don't trust anyone. You just don't. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who's out to, you're always fight, flight,
Right.
freeze. You're always like, who's going to hurt me next? Right.
Right. Right.
So these little acts of kindness, of allowing the child in their time to earn that trust, as minute as it was, you're not teaching them about trauma. You're giving them a pair of pajamas and a book and saying, here, this is something to help you feel safe and secure and comfortable. And you have something to read to occupy your mind when everything else is chaotic in your life.
Right.
And that is so touching, that small, which, believe me, I'm saying small acts, but it's a huge act. But this small act of kindness that you started out with has impacted millions and millions of children.
I pray every day that it does, and everything you said was right. And I just, it's to add to that, it's dark at night. I'm afraid of the
Yes.
dark sometimes. You hear something, because when the lights go out and you dare to close your eyes, you are the most vulnerable you will ever be.
Yes. And you have to trust that. You have to trust that you're safe.
Yes.
And for these children that come from backgrounds such as what we were talking about, how could you feel safe in that kind of environment? And
Right.
especially in an unfamiliar place, when you're in a shelter and you've just been taken from a hostile situation and now you're with strangers you don't even know.
Yeah.
That's
And what's
probably
going to
more
happen tomorrow?
scary. Right. That's probably even more scary for them because they know what to expect
Right,
at the helm, but now they're in unfamiliar territory where they have
right,
no idea what to expect.
right.
And
You're
that I
right.
think that's even more vulnerable for the child. So, I mean, it's amazing how children can change our lives. It
It's
really
amazing
is.
how one can, and you're a mom, so you have
Oh,
two, you said, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
it's incredible.
The best job I have in the world. And I don't see it as a job because I get to see them grow up and enjoy life. And, I'm privileged in that way to experience that. And I love how you also said about the power of one another.
Mm.
Can you go deeper into that for my audience? Because I love, you always hear like, oh, like it's me, I got to do everything. I got to, wear the worker of many hats. So how did you build this whole community of one another?
Right, right. Well, it's twofold, right? First, I used to hear that, and I used to say that about other people, 25 years ago. Oh, look at that person had this idea. Look at that. Wow. And one idea. And people would say that to me when I started to grow Pajama Program. Look what you did. One person, one idea. And, as I went on and I just was overwhelmed with support and taking people helping and wanting to help and the changes and everything. I just turned to somebody one day and I said, it's not the power of one. You can't say that. One person doesn't change anything. It's one another. Look what we've done that moves mountains and moves people. And that's what we're doing, right, Dawn? We're moving people. We're moving their hearts. We're moving their hearts are making actions happen. We're giving them permission to move in that direction that say, you're vulnerable, but we're right here. So keep moving in that direction. It's the right one. You're listening to the right part of your body. Give your
Right.
brain a rest. Your heart is leading you. Your brain will figure out how to make whatever your heart says work. So keep going there. So it was the combination of me saying it doesn't feel right. I'm not by myself doing this. I don't want any credit. I had one moment with a little girl and I told people, and that's what happened. And it's just the world we're in. We need each other more now than ever.
Ugh.
More now than ever. None of us can change what needs to be changed alone, no matter how big our voice is. We need to, to attract the right people, feel the same way and not feel the same way on one side, just feel the same way, like this isn't right. We can live together in harmony, share our stories, have different ideas and different feelings, but we've got to be in this together. What I do affects you, what you do affects me, my kids, my parents. Right. If we can get on that same page, I think we'll find more peace.
Oh, amen. No, seriously. And I felt that way for such a long time too. It just the way the world is. Some days I wake up and I'm like, I just can't believe that the world has gotten hard. Like it's just a horrible time to be in this situation. There's so much going on in the world. And the country's divided, religions are divided. And at the end of the day, the way I look at it is if you're a good person, I'll be good to you. If you're a kind person, if you do things with love from your heart, you're not trying to step on anybody else, trying to climb the ladder, because the ego gets in the way of all this. Who can I outsmart to get ahead? And it's this mindset of just, and especially in the work I do, it's like it disgusts me. It really does, because since I was a little girl, I've always been show kindness, show love, be good, be kind, know who you are, your morals, your values of no matter how bad people are to you, you remain kind, you know who you are, you're humble, you walk away. And, raising children in this day and age, I think is so challenging because you have social media influence, you got all these things happening. And we forgot how to be good to each other. We forgot that we're all connected. We're all here for a purpose. We're all here to teach each other, grow community, learn from each other, inspire each other, build communities up. And I'm not saying everyone, but for the most part, all we ever hear is that everyone's out for themselves. It's this war happened and it's this happening. Something's got to change.
Yeah, we've
Something's
lost
got to
that thread.
change. And we need kindness. We need compassion. We need to not be so judgmental of others, and just, if you don't agree with somebody, accept them for who they are. And that's it. If they have a different perspective, they should be allowed to have a different perspective of things. And imagine what this world could be if we all came together with love in our hearts, with compassion and empathy, and we pull together as a world united. Imagine the mountains we could move together.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I have faith. I have faith in us. I have faith in people like you who are asking us to share our stories, who feel the way you feel. I have faith, and I think we've got to move past the shock of the TV, everything that's on the
Yes.
TV, and just go back to looking at people helping each other on the street, sitting in a subway and seeing the small kindnesses that you're talking about. It's
Right.
overshadowed by breaking news every minute. And that disappoints me because I see it. We all see it. We read the stories that are buried about somebody helped somebody.
Yeah.
We have to focus on those and share those as much as we share. Oh my gosh, can you see what's happening?
That's why I don't watch the news anymore. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because all it is negative. And I'm all about positive and inspiration and teaching and growing and community and empathy and like, I refuse to watch the news. I honestly couldn't tell you what's going on in our world right now. And it's not because that I'm not an intelligent woman. I just don't care to put that negativity in my body and be in fear. Like,
Right.
I want to focus on the good and what I can do to give back. And yeah, in this instant, I am one, but I'm building community. I have people subscribing. I have beautiful souls like you coming on and sharing, and little by little it's growing. And I want a safe space for people to just be and learn and grow, and not focus on all the clutter that's going out there. Because if we continue to feed ourselves with fear, that's all we're ever going to see. And we need more stories like yours to be brought to light. And I mean, some of these names, you get OPRAH, like that
Who knows
alone.
purpose better than her? She knows purpose.
OPRAH's like my idol. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I have all of her books. I just got actually done. I'm actually reading the what happened to you right now. I love that book. And just for you to meet her, and like for her to like take you under her wing and be like, here you go. I am all for this, especially like with her school too. Do you guys do anything together
We
with
did.
over
We
school?
we did. We did. We sent
Oh,
pajamas over there. Yep, and books. Yes, we did back then. Yes.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
we did a
love
few things.
that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's what I'm saying. We need all these people, this community growing and sharing, and because these kids are our future. And if we can't get it right, we need to make sure that we get it right for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it's so crucial. This is our generation. This is the next generation. And if we don't help these kids out and show them kindness and show them just with a little gift, a pair of pajamas and a bedtime story, like that could change a child's life. Like, and people don't look at it. You're right. People don't look at it as oh, well, it's just a pair of pajamas. But to a child that didn't even know what pajamas were, that's huge.
And it's the invisible message that they're getting, because they're getting it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even realize it. They're
That
getting.
someone cares.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone cares about them.
In an orphanage or a group home. Box comes and there's something just for them. Yeah, they get it.
Oh my God, Genevieve, I'm just, again, just so humbled that you took the time out to be with me today, be with my audience. I have all your social media profiles in the description. I will put everything in there, but obviously for people that are listening, what is the best way that someone can reach out to you if they want to donate, if they want to send whatever, to get involved with your nonprofit? Where can people go to get involved with this?
Well, for Pajama Program, it's pajamaprogram.org. And for me, if they are interested in hearing me speak or inviting me to speak or my books and things, it's my website, GenevievePiturro.com.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you for joining me. Go to these websites, support Genevieve's cause. This is a great cause, you guys. Give back, help these kids out. I mean, this is just amazing. I mean, get involved, see what you can do because it's all about community. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you on the next episode. Don't forget to share, subscribe, like, help me grow this channel. See you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you,